Hi everybody, this is Albert and welcome to my kitchen. And today I was going to address something that I think annoys the crap out of most people, but I figure I have to address it. And that is when I'm watching Food Network, most of it's not really about the food anymore and just scantily clad women nowadays with big breasts. But that being said, I always watch the TV shows and I say so-and-so can't cook with crap. And then somebody sitting next to me will say, well, how do you know? You never tasted their food. So today I'm going to cover a few points about how I know their food tastes like crap without even trying it. And how I know pretty much most people's cooking tastes like crap without ever trying it. So Confucius says that if the food is not cut correctly or symmetrically in size, then it will taste like crap because it will cook unevenly. And I tend to agree. Now, most people think when he talks about that means every single piece of everything in the bowl is the exact same size. That's actually not true. Optimum size-wise is if you're sauteing or cooking everything together, you really need to have all the shapes, surface area, and volume and speed of cooking for either protein, carbohydrates, or sugar content to cook at the same time. So if carrots are harder, they should be cut smaller than something that softens quickly, like versus like say potatoes. So when you cut them all the same size, you actually haven't done it correctly. Unless you want to cook them separately, then that's okay. So the first thing I notice is knife work, and I stress knife work a lot because if your knife work sucks, there's pretty much zero chance that you're a good cook. And so the first thing, I don't even actually have to see them cooking. I can hear them cooking, or in this case, not hear them cooking, and tell if they're a good cook. Example is the steel. When you watch most of TV, you see, what's his name? Who's they? You see a guy sharpening their knife on the steel. First off, if you have a steel, or if you don't have a steel, you're really not a chef. That's the first statement I'm going to make, and I'll make a blanket statement about that, and I'll defend it all day long. Number two, if you don't know how to use a steel, like Gordon Ramsay doesn't really do it correctly, then it's just shameful. But basically, you give somebody a knife, this is my wife's Sontaku, and a steel, and you actually don't even have to taste or watch them cook. You can just listen to them sharpening a knife. And that pretty much, if you record an audio file of yourself sharpening your knife for me, I'll tell you how good your food tastes. I don't even actually have to see you. I don't have to hear you cooking or anything. But basically, your steel, I'm left-handed, so it looks backwards, and you're just striking smoothly along the steel. Now, if you don't know how to do that, you can do it vertically like this. I don't know if it's in the camera, but so I sharpen in between every single cut of every single vegetable, or even before I finish cutting, I'll steel my knife again, because a sharp blade is a safe blade. So if you don't know how to use steel, get a nice solid steel, usually a thumb up against the rest. And this is the thumb guard, so you don't want your thumb past there or you'll lose a thumb. And you're striking, and this actually just tones and smooths it out. This is a ceramic steel, so it does, you can see how gray it is. It does take a little bit more metal off, which I prefer than the traditional steel, just because it keeps it much sharper. Yes, you will eat a blade, but I don't really care. Buy a new knife after 20 years, I don't care. But basically, you're striking the other side, and just a couple of gentle strokes, and you'll notice the knife is considerably sharper. So, with the steel, like I said, I don't actually have to watch you cook, I just have to listen to you. Now, you go up to a chef and give them a knife and a steel like that, and it makes the same sound I just did. They pretty much know how to cook, because they use a knife, and they use a knife very often. They use a sharp knife. Now, somebody who doesn't own steel pretty much cannot cook. Now, the other part is, so that's my spiel about cooking and listening to cooking before even tasting it. My second part is you have pretty much, actually I think my garlic's in the fridge, but you have pretty much three major aromatics. You got the garlic, which I can pull out, but I won't, a shallot, and an onion. And so my second clue whether or not somebody knows how to cook is how well they deal with aromatics. And your major aromatics is garlic, shallots, and onions. And if you don't know how to deal with them very, very well, you cannot be a good cook, because your food cannot possibly taste that good if you're not having any aromatics in it. So I got my shallot. So I'll kind of attack the shallot on video, and then just kind of see how fast I deal with it, and we'll go from there, and then you tell me. On the shallots, I do cut the ends because they're so small to deal with, and to peel, I actually split them in half first because it's just much easier to peel for the shallots. I don't do that normally for the onions, and also I'm like Doraemon, I don't actually have that much fingernail to deal with, so you have to bear with me, as peeling stuff is always the most difficult part of my cooking. I have very, very little fingernail, and so and I'll kind of use the knife, or not. But dealing with garlic, as you've seen in my videos, and dealing with onions and dealing with shallots is really just the heart of cooking. Because if you don't know how to deal with aromatics, or if you use no aromatics at all, then your cooking tastes like crap. The other day I was at Whole Foods, and this lady goes, "Oh, I love Whole Foods. They have pre-smashed garlic." I'm like, yeah, but it's like 6 times more expensive, and it's less flavorful because the oils have been leaking out, and so has the aroma. And so people who depend on pre-chopped and pre-cut aromatics, just a sad, 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 sad life, you know? So we have our shallot, and I usually just go ahead and slice, and today I'll be, like I said, and very, very used to just sharpening my knife first, and today we'll just go ahead and push cut through a shallot. So you've seen me push cut through a shallot, and even though you haven't tasted my cooking, what do you think? Because to me, basically, when your chopping skills are somewhat decent, it's very, very hard to be a horrible cook with really good chopping skills. But the other way around, it's really, really hard to be a good cook with really horrible chopping skills. So that's my little spiel about how do I know most people on TV, or most people I see, suck at cooking. They don't know how to use a steel. You just don't get that nice... And they basically take 20 minutes to chop through a piece of shallot or garlic or onion. So if you disagree with me, you're wrong. I'm right. Sorry.